I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I have to announce that in accordance with the actions related to the extension, to an extension of the remote provisions of the governor's March 11, 2020 executive orders, this meeting is being held both remotely and in person. Call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum here. Attending in person is Kristen Rowe and Alice Livedall and Bill Holman. So attending remotely is Francois Steiger, Erica Deck, our alternate member, and John Demalia, who's on the board. Okay, so we do not have, can you all hear still?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we don't have minutes to approve tonight. We do, oh, I'm sorry, public comments. We only have one member of the public here. He doesn't wish to make comments. Anybody remotely, Mallory?
No.
Okay, so we'll go on. There are no minutes. We have no new business tonight. We have some reports on old business, but actually have one item of new business, I guess, but it's a continuation. It is a public hearing. So I'd like to announce what the public hearing is and then remind me to call it to order, all right?
We gotta open the meeting for that, right?
Yeah, we have to open a public hearing for it. So I guess I can open that public hearing right now. And do we need a vote to open a public hearing? We don't, do we?
Yes.
We do. Okay,
I make that motion to open.
you have
the
to say
public
your
hearing.
name because we're being
I,
recorded.
William J. Holmans, a member of the planning board, make the motion to open the public hearing
Okay,
for the grid scale battery energy storage system.
okay,
Monroe, second.
okay. Any further comment?
I will-
None? Okay, Livedall, aye.
Holman's eye.
Monroe, aye.
Steiger, aye.
John?
Amelia, aye.
That's it.
Okay, and John said aye, I think. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so the public hearing, I'll read the announcement. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Section 11, the Hubbardston Planning Board will hold a public hearing at the Hubbardston Town Hall, Slade Building 7, Main Street, Hubbardston, Mass. 01452, and via virtual platform Zoom on Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 at 6:30 to review the proposed changes to Hubbardston zoning bylaws. Actually, it's a new article. It's Article 23, Grid Scale Battery Energy Storage Systems, GSBESS. That's the acronym. Any person interested in or wishing to be heard should submit comments in writing to the Hubbardston Planning Board at 7 Main Street, Hubbardston, Mass. 01452, or attend the public hearing. A draft of the proposed changes may be viewed at, and they give the address, the planning board, Hubbardston Planning Board's web address. Okay. So we have gone through this a number of times, but it's important. It's a new concept in town. So we should probably go through it again quickly. So I'll do that. And then we can call for public comments if anybody has come in. So
Madam
this
Chair?
is actually a new article that hasn't been in our bylaws before. It is to allow the grid scale battery energy storage systems to be installed in the commercial zone under certain circumstances. So it only applies to tier 2 scale battery energy storage systems that are connected to the public utility grid and used for supplementing the public energy supply. No other grid scale battery energy storage systems are allowed. And so the purpose of these units is to take energy from the solar fields generated during the day or the grid generated off peak, store it, and then put this energy back into the grid to supplement peaks and level out the use, and also for emergency power supplies. So it's a long bylaw, it's 13 pages. I'm definitely not going to try to read the whole thing. You can read it online.
Madam
But,
Chair,
yes,
Madam Chair, I just wanted
Francois.
to, thank you very much. I just wanted to remark on one item here, and I did,
I can't hear what you're saying.
that's why we can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
There, yes.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out that I spoke with Mallory earlier. The version of the battery energy storage bylaw as proposed, the draft version that is on the website, does have one mistake that we just want to make sure that everybody understands and knows. It still mentions that the maximum allocation for a BESS system would be 2 megawatts and not the 10 megawatts that we had discussed earlier. I just want to make the public aware, as well as you, Madam Chair, aware that that is actually an error, a typo, and is in the process of being corrected by Mallory, and will therefore be updated on the website.
Was it not corrected by tonight? When I looked at it, I think it's been corrected, but it is the maximum.
It looks like
capacity.
the old one's still uploaded. The one you sent out tonight is correct. So I'm trying to get that up there, but the computer's not cooperating.
Okay, there is another error, as long as we're talking about errors. But possibly not in the one that's posted, because it could have been a formatting error in the last one that David pointed out to me, and that is there are two definitions of participating properties on page 3. So is the one that's uploaded showed the two definitions, Mallory?
I'm checking right now.
Okay, so if it does, the correct definition is the second one. It starts with the parcel of land on which the BESS system is located or
That is
proposed.
correct.
And the other one should be stricken because it was superseded.
Madam Chair, the version that is on the website at this point in time does contain two definitions. To your point, the first one is the incorrect one. The second one is the one that should be, so it should be struck out.
The version.
All right, what is the one that's on the website? Because I thought it was correct. It doesn't have the 10 correction, Mallory?
Yes, no, we got to update the 10. That one's the one that came out today. And then you said the definition.
The one that's loaded in for the meeting also has typos and such in it. There's some spaces where some places where the font is different sizes and simultaneously is spelled incorrectly in it.
All right, this is a 12-page document. Are we going to spend tonight going through it? Let's do it, because it's got to be ready for prime time. I thought I published the right one. So excuse me for members of the public while we do corrections. All right, so where are the corrections you spotted?
In the one that's in the folder for this meeting.
Page 1, anything?
Let's see, page 1, no.
Page 2.
Page 2, simultaneously.
Where does that appear?
Definition of operator and owner in both places.
Okay, simultaneously, 2 places responsible for adherence to the.
Then on.
Wait, you said 2 places simultaneously?
Yeah, simultaneously.
Under operator, and then also under owner.
Only misspelled in one place?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Where's the other one?
Owner and operator.
Yeah, the owner may simultaneously be the owner of the property, and then the operator may simultaneously be the owner of the property.
Where is that? Do you see it? Simultaneously, I see it. Okay, got it. Okay. And I know that there's a line space error under battery storage system. Maybe that's not on this stuff. Okay, so at the top of page 3, in the draft that I thought I posted this week, where the 10 was corrected, starts out with a little, with a participating property definition. And then, is that true on yours, the one that's posted?
Yeah, participating property appears twice.
Okay, so the top one should be stricken. Top definition should be stricken. So the one in the middle.
Madam Chair, if that is the case,
Yes?
also if that is the case, then I believe there is a footnote on the bottom. Just got to make sure that footnote then also we understand what it references. because we
Well, I
got several.
think that references to non-zoning requirements. Okay, we can put it there. We did not take it verbatim out of it. This was actually an error. I mean, this error originated because I was complaining to Bill Murray that when you talk about participating property, you need to make clear that you're talking about a piece of land, which wasn't in the other definition. So I'm happy to add the footnote to participating property, but it's not the same definition as in the draft that you originally prepared, just so you understand that. Okay, any other errors on page 3?
Yeah, special permit and 12-point font, everything else is in 11-point font.
Okay, any other thing in page 3? You have a footnote at the bottom of page 3, the reference footnote and the one that's on there?
Yes,
Okay, next, page 4.
although the number for page 3 is actually appearing on page 4 at the top. So I think there might be a pagination issue there.
The page, you got a page numbering error?
Yeah,
So 3 doesn't appear at the bottom of 3?
no, it appears at the top of 4.
Okay,
So 3's gonna go up.
okay. Eliminate page number. Mallory, can you follow this at all?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm making notes.
Okay, so then page 4 is where the size limit should read at the bottom, 10 megawatts instead of 2 megawatts.
That is
It's
correct.
an 8. And that was corrected on one of these that I thought was posted, but if it isn't, it needs to be corrected. Is there anything else you see on that page? If you move on to page 5. I guess there's a period missing, and if you at the end of one, the front yard, since we're putting periods at the end of the others.
Nothing else on number 5?
Anything else on number 5? Any typos on page 6?
There's no number at the top of the page.
No, it's supposed to be at the bottom.
Oh, that's right.
They are showing properly and correctly on the PDF file that is on the website. At the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah, the Word version, the number 5 for page 5 is appearing a paragraph down onto page 6.
say it again.
Number 5 for page 5 is down on 6.
Oh, the
Yeah.
page number problems again?
Yeah,
Ever see where it is?
that's where the page number for page 5 is. It's after the first paragraph on page 6.
Okay, fixed page number. It doesn't help that I'm not working from the same draft.
Right.
All right, do you have anything else on page 6? Page number.
On number 14, the spacing is way off. I don't know if that's just a product of how it's rendering, and there's a large space that's in the middle of the paragraph.
Okay,
Oh, yeah. But there's a couple tabs in there.
Yeah,
You see it on his?
yeah, I don't know where that came from. Mallory, I don't know what the story is here, but, all right, I will put on page, unfortunately, I can't, it's a paragraph 14 has the problem, right?
yes.
Okay. Anything on page 7?
Same thing with the page number again.
Okay, so page numbering throughout, we have to look at.
I see that on page 7, under the fencing requirements, we struck out the word each. Is there a reason why we left that in with a strikeout?
Oh, it should be there, right? No, yeah, it shouldn't be at each gate. We only need one knock box.
Yeah, I'm
That's
just saying, we can remove the word each with a strikeout. Since it's the correction that was made earlier.
Yeah, that wasn't made. Okay.
All right.
Anything else on page 7 you see?
No,
Okay, moving along to page 8. Anything pops out? Is it
I
also a
think we
page
just,
number?
I think we just need to be very consistent because in prior sections, after each one of the numbered bullets, what we did is either we use periods or commas. We've got semicolons this time around, so it's like different flavors. We just need to, at some point in time, just make sure that we are using the same common mechanism by which we are going from one bullet to the next one.
Well, do you think it should be, I see under decommissioning it's semicolons.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you, should it, in other places it's been commas, and do you have a preference? We want to be
and-
consistent. I don't really have a proofreader is the problem. We got to get this
No, no,
ready. You have a preference for it, and I'll make it consistent.
I get it. My suggestion is we just use periods and that's it.
You can use periods after a semicolon without a problem, right?
Well, I don't know why we're using semicolons here.
Semicolons under decommissioning plan. I'll get them, we'll change them to period or to commas, I guess.
Yeah, we can do that.
Also an issue with the numbering for 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Under what?
Under decommissioning plan.
So what's the problem with the numbers? 1, 2, 3. Oh, the numbering isn't on the line. It's a formatting thing.
Yeah, and then 5 is on line 4 and 6 is on the same line. There's no return key after. There's no paragraph indicator.
All right.
At least in the Word document version. Then the paper version you're holding that looks like it's fine, but in the Word version, it's the one posted for the meeting materials.
Okay, can anybody an expert on the semicolon issue? You want to make these all periods
Probably should be a period, right?
instead of semicolons?
You don't have my phones on yours?
I think we could do that.
There's semicolons after every.
Some of them are not. What?
There are semicolons on this one. It's consistent.
Yeah, but
It should be period.
should they be periods? The problem is that many of these sections have lists. Should we, and it would do the swap with a, when you lead in sentence, the sentence with a semicolon? Should it be consistent?
Are they full sentences or fragments?
There are,
They're fragments.
if they're fragments, semicolon should remain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
All right. I'll read for the semicolons and, okay, any other obvious, I mean, you have a stranded heading here at the bottom of 9, which probably isn't on your sheet. Anything on page 9 you see?
No.
Ownership changes. Yeah, these headings should all be fixed. So they're at the top of the pages. All right. Okay. We can't spend all night doing this, guys. We just can't. All right. So I will try to fix those errors, the formatting errors and the typo errors, and send out another set to you. But in terms of the public, I don't think any of those things have a great change in meaning. The two meaningful ones are three meaningful corrections in terms of content. One is to make sure that it is 10, the maximum 10 megawatts. The duplicate definition of participating property is the one that starts out with a parcel of land. And what was the one? Oh, that there's only one Knox box and gate, set up gate for emergency that's required. Doesn't need to be on all the gates, multiple gates to the property. Okay. So running through it quickly for the benefit of the public. So these units are allowed where there is access to the power lines that's suitable and in a district. The have to be in a dedicated use building. The building has to be in a fenced area. These units would be a 10 megawatt system, which is what we're proposing, could fit in somewhere, depending on the technology, between 2 and 4 container sized trucks, commercial container. They obviously have to, there's a lot of technical language about making sure that it complies with all the codes. We require a special permit to put in. It would generally be only use permitted on a lot unless there was a special exception to that in the special permit. So they're only in the commercial zoning district. They have to have a minimum lot and frontage size of any other lot in town, which is 200 feet of frontage on a public way, 80,000 square feet of land. There's, in addition to the special permit, a site plan review required. If there is another building on the property, it must be compatible with the battery energy storage system. Again, the system size, megawatts, it's a mid-size to make it commercially attractive for the power grid to be interested in taking it on as a storage. What it will provide is it would supplement peak demand for several hours by applying, and it would also supply power outages for several hours for 1,600 homes. It has back at least 200 feet from the road. Side yards have to be set back 75 feet, and the cleared area and the fencing, which is very high, cannot be located in these setbacks. These are not high, the standard height. They would generally fit the standard height and is allowed in the zoning district, but that also covered here. So they do have to get a special permit. They have to do a past environmental community impact analysis. They would have to pass site plan. We'd have to have to apply evidence that the public utility will accept them as a storage facility. And there's a lot of other technical details that they have to provide for the board. And one of those includes, I think, of significance is noise analysis. That includes documentation from an acoustical engineer that the noise levels are acceptable that it would be generating. There has to be signage, lighting, the specific signage requirements, lighting, and to that minimally required for say operational purposes and with our night skies, our dark sky policy. Vegetation and tree cutting has to be cut within 20 feet of these units, but again, that can't be in the setbacks. And there is the fencing requirement, invisibility, says views of the GS from adjacent properties shall be minimized to the extent reasonably practicable, architectural features, earth berms, landscaping, fencing, and other screening methods, which will harmonize with the character of the property. So that's what the planning board would be looking for, and the burden to do that is on the applicant. And then there are decommissioning plans and a bond that the applicant must post. Town will hold a cash bond, so that when the units are decommissioned, the money would be there to do that if they walked away from it and left the town to do it. The emergency operating plans. There are some provisions about abandonment, and before the system can be turned on, there must be a certificate to generate issued, which sort of pulls all of the threads together of what's required. So any member of is there any questions from the board?
No,
Francois, reasonable summary, anything you want to add? Francois was very instrumental in getting this together.
No, I appreciate what you have done, Madam Chair, and I think you've pretty much covered all of the various items here, including not only the changes that we've specified here, but I think
Okay.
the only item that I wanted to remark here is that there's also a requirement for annual reporting. I want to emphasize this here because we have had problems in the past with annual reporting requirements from the solar fields, and we've put some very significant amount of effort into making sure that for this bylaw, there's teeth behind the annual reporting requirements.
Okay, so if you didn't hear that, what he's saying is the annual reporting, which we've had trouble getting people to do that own the solar facility, there's more teeth behind this one.
Okay.
Pull their permit if they don't provide it.
and the planning board can do that.
Right, correct. So, we'll see what happens, but it is consistent with the energy policy, and it does make some, it is some making possibilities for both the town and for individuals that want to do this.
Right.
So it's a big opportunity as well as an opportunity for the town. Or are there members of the public? Anybody? Mallory?
I have no one here.
Okay,
No.
so should we close the hearing? Can I have a motion to close the public?
Well, Madam Chair, before we close the hearing, I did want to state that I did have the opportunity to review the deliberations from the last meeting on video where I was not present.
Okay, thank you. And
Would you repeat that? We couldn't hear that. We couldn't hear what did,
Stating for the record that I was able to watch the video recording of the deliberation from the previous meeting where I was not present.
thank you.
okay, so we close the hearing and then take our vote
Yes.
to recommend? Okay,
I'll make them that we close the public hearing.
Second,
any further discussion? Hearing none, lived all eye.
Holman's eye.
Monroe,
Steiger, aye.
John?
Demalia, aye.
Okay, the hearing's closed, and I'll take a motion to, I guess what we would do to send this best bylaw with the proofreading and the corrections discussed tonight to the town manager and the select board with a letter stating that the planning board recommends it's being placed on the annual town warrant.
For the
And-
town meeting.
And we recommend it pass.
so moved.
Okay,
Second that, Bill
Okay.
Holman's.
any further discussion?
No.
No? Okay. Do you vote? Lived all eye?
Aye.
Monroe, I.
Steiger, aye.
Demalia, aye.
On. Thank you, John. Okay, great. It's been a long time coming, a really lot of effort, but I think is well through despite typo. It's a good bylaw that will protect us and let us move ahead with that. So other items on the agenda, we don't really have other business items, but we have some updating items that I really am trying to sort of close some of the gaps here. So, there's one thing on here that's the revised scenic road application. We did revise the decision, but we didn't revise the application, but I got to bring it back because I just didn't do it. Sorry to say. Affordable housing, I do have some information. First of all, especially to the public, there is a ceremony at the Ragged Hill House, which is 105, I believe, Ragged Hill Road. You can't miss it. There's a big habitat sign. Saturday, 4th at 10 o'clock. If you come and sign the beam in the mid-build, and you can meet the woman that's going to live there.
Madam Chair,
With her daughter.
Madam Chair,
Francois, what?
I think Saturday is March 5, not the 4th.
Oh, March 5th. Sorry, it is Saturday, though. March 5th. Yeah,
Yeah,
Saturday
it says
at 10 a.m.
Thursday. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Saturday,
Okay.
March 4th. Damn.
We need okay,
long
10
day.
o'clock. Yeah, stop by if you can, because we are the Affordable Housing Committee. It's supposed to last 20 minutes early. Put your
Oh,
name on the
okay.
beam, meet the person that's gonna own the house. Very nice
Oh
woman.
my God.
And there's an article in the
I'm gonna
paper
try to- I'm gonna try to-
telling a little bit about her life, but
If the buyers are showing up to that, we need to post it, don't we?
Oh, yeah, the quorum.
Mallory, you want to post it as a meeting? I don't know, it's a public event. We're not deliberating anything. I
We don't
think we
talk
need
about
to.
any issues.
They're representing the Affordable Housing Committee.
Okay, well, you want to post it? The plan, it's just not to be
I
on the
don't think
safe
we
side.
have
just
enough time.
8 hours.
If it's Saturday, it's not 48 business hours.
Okay, well, I do think if you like, you can do
Tell me.
what you can go to like party. I mean, this is a party, it's a celebration. No action's going to be taken, right? You can come to the Christmas party is the word. I think it fits squarely within an exemption. So I also wonder how many people will really get up, but we'll try. Come if you can.
I'm gonna try.
Don't be
Yep.
intimidated by just that. We'll be careful.
I won't.
And it's really not being hosted by us. It's being hosted by Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
It's their event, right? So I think we're okay. Okay, so moving right along, I asked Sandy Nason, for a status on the tax taking lot. And I got an answer. Let me see if I can find it. The parcel on Old Wester Road, which is parcel 643, owned by Mark and Daniel Coates, doing business as, I think, RD and R Builders. Anyway, if this has been working its way through the land court, they finally had a hearing and none of the owners showed. So the town made a motion for judgment and the court allowed the motion for judgment. So now it reviews the case file, she says, and if everything's in order, the court will do a foreclosure judgment in 4 to 8 weeks' time. Once the judgment issues, ownership of the property will transfer to the town. So it looks like we've got one. It's a good sized lot, and it's on a section of Westminster Road that's great. The problem with it is it has a lot of wetlands and frontage issues. So wouldn't it be this affordable housing lot? I don't know how much value it is, but we are trying to, if you recall, get the abutting lot.
The lot
which is
behind it
also,
is
yes,
large.
right. And the lot behind also has an access corridor we're looking at, but it's possible, and I think that's exciting. We put out that money, and it looks like one of the lots.
Awesome. What's the status of the other one?
Where is it on Old Westminster Road?
It's at the intersection of Streeter Road, down a little bit from
And
Old Western. It
So
is lot.
it's on the opposite side, so it's up over here. Right on the western border.
It's
Well,
it's parcel 43, parcel lot, a map 643. Anyway, that just came in. I asked her for that.
It's up in there.
it's right near the line, Minister.
Yeah, there's 44.
The one it abuts it rear is that's actually fronts on, doesn't front on anything. It's landlocked, but it has an access to it. And both the
Lot 57.
access and the lot are being foreclosed in another suit in the abutting property, which would be helpful.
And that's also Hubbardston property.
They're both, yeah, it's been in
When I
tax.
heard it was on the line.
Yeah, they're being.
Yes, it's
taken
right
from
near the
tax
line
credit.
up there.
So we're gonna
but it's-
utilize those for.
The- yeah, the-
Housing for Habitat.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe not necessarily Habitat, but
Right.
but
Yeah.
for housing. So the problem with affordable housing in this town is that the town doesn't own any land. And so one of the things we used CPA funds will initiate some tax foreclosure on some of these lots. So the planning board is the Affordable Housing Committee. We went and we surveyed a bunch of these lots that are in tax taking to see which would be suitable. And we came up with a list. That list, some of them were redeemed by the owners, but these few are working their way through
Redeemed means.
the tax got paid up.
Oh, okay.
And so the owner,
Not up.
they took it back. So we're working on it to get
Madam
it.
Chair,
but the
quick question.
town's-
For those lots that were redeemed, was there any outlay of money, CPA funds for that, or not?
No, I think the ones that were redeemed actually before the cases were filed.
Okay, so there
So
was
there
no
was a
outlay of
process,
money.
you know.
The reason I'm
So
asking
I
it is
think-
because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a deal with the town that they would try to work something out with us if it was redeemed and we put the money up for the cases. But I think the only ones that were redeemed were actually before cases were filed. They were just as a result of letters issued. I believe we'll check Sandy.
Okay.
So,
The reason I'm asking the question is because of the one property that obviously has come to fruition right now, the one that you have just mentioned, lot 43. Is there a possibility that once the town decides that what they're going to do with it, and if there is a monetary compensation that comes back as a result of this here, that we can re-inject that money for future lots, for the consideration of future lots? Because if I remember, there were a number of lots that we did not address because we only had limited funds.
That's right.
yeah, so I think the deal with the town was that if we put up the money to get the lots would be, and succeeded, the lots would be used for affordable housing if they were suitable.
Correct.
So I don't think we went beyond if get them and they're not suitable, what would happen? But we can enter into a new negotiation with the town, but that was the agreement. So this lot would be most useful if the town also gets, if the
Joining
other
lot.
case comes through, right?
Okay.
So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens, but at least its status, it's been a long time, like 18 months. So it's great to know they're
It's a
getting
start.
there. So then I wanted to have some updates on lot 57 too. Lot 57 is the old gravel pit.
Right.
There are two pieces of communique came in this week. One of them is that the environmental will require another round of testing and studies to see how far the lead that was in the groundwater from the shooting range has spread. So anyway, hang on one second.
Sure.
Oh, that's all right. What would you like to say?
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Lot 57 doesn't tell me anything. What road is it on?
Oh, it's on Pitcherville Road.
Okay.
And it was
it's
the
that
old-
gravel pit.
And it's the old town gravel pit,
Okay.
and it's in front of the Marinelli pit and the other big pits back there, which actually have a right of way that we've got to arrange in some way to
Oh,
allow them
for
to get
to
back.
to their
right.
property.
But the town owned about 15 acres.
So if I'm going out Pitcherville Road towards, say, Gardner-ish direction, it's on the left,
If you go down Pitcherville Road,
If you turn off 68,
right?
take a left.
A left on to
Pitcherville
Pitcherville
Road.
Skate, and it's on the left-hand
There's
side.
somebody going down the road, it's got the yellow fence
Gate.
in front of it.
but it's on the right,
Oh,
if you're
right.
going down that way.
On the right hand on Pitcherville
Oh,
Road,
is it the
The-
one that's
up
uphill?
the hill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah,
It also owns land to the left of the road,
oh,
but it is mostly wetland and it's prime water supply land. So we're not looking to develop it. The
Okay.
town's looking to hang on to it for a future water supply site. But that's the lot. So that's the first issue.
so on the right, that there was a firing range, was it a public?
It's still there, no, it's the police department. So if you go up the hill, come down the hill on the right-hand side, it's all set for the police for their shooting. You're going to qualify
But-
in training. And then on the left-hand side, as you're going up the hill is where the highway department for 30 years dumped all the cleanups from the side of the roads.
So there were two environmental issues. But the big
Okay.
one was the lead and the bullets, the lead from
Okay.
the bullets. So now there's a new study, the next round of testing, and all this is horribly expensive. It's like $40,000 but I do see there's a new round of brownfield cleanup stuff, and maybe there's some money we can access,
Really?
or maybe there's some of the ARPA money. I mean, I don't know whether any of it can be used, but
There is going to be a second round of ARPA. The current round of ARPA has closed.
can you do anything with environmental cleanup?
Yeah, you can.
Really? Okay.
Cool.
Even before the restrictions were lifted, that was something that was still possible under it.
Okay, well, I'll try to talk to David tomorrow and tell him This just came in. Is the next cleanup, and they're with a quote and all. So I'll tell him to put it with ARPA and also Brownfields. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
It would be helpful if we just had an ongoing list of these that we were tracking in the share drive
Mhm.
with the notes for keeping them organized.
Oh, of these?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, of all the tax properties and the possible properties we're looking at.
Okay, I mean, I can write notes from where they are. I don't think there's a, I think that would be good. It'd be good to also, as we change
Yeah.
partner, leadership here, I'd be happy to do that.
I will gladly turn them into an Excel sheet if you can just give me notes on all the properties.
Okay, well, we're down to, for the tax taking.
Yes.
We did have an elimination process. But it came down to these 3 parcels. Well, a fourth one. The fourth one was redeemed again before we filed the case. So there were these other 3 parcels, but one is just an access road to the back lot. It's owned by the same person, although it's a different lot number. And the lawyer consolidated them in one case because they had the same owner. So there's only 2 cases in land court. This one, the front's on Westminster Road, Old Westminster Road, and the one behind it, including the access. And it's upland. So I don't know where our chances go with that. But it may be that within the 15 acres of this one, there is enough to do, well, most of it is wet, on, 1 or 2 units. I don't know. If we got the bigger lot in back,
It'd be nice.
it'd be nice. But, okay, so actually, I want to also talk about lot 57 because this kind of feeds into that. So lot 57, which is the gravel pit with the cleanup issues, we had also talked about simultaneously going forward with a feasibility study for that lot. And so I tried to figure out what was happening with that. And there was a little bit of a miscommunication. So what happened was, we have a, our aquifer favorability map
Mhm.
is ambiguous. It has a limitation of the size of a septic field. Anyway, it needs to be straightened out. And he says, no, I'm not holding it up because of the brownfield issue, the cleanup issue. I'm holding it up because you can't design anything unless you get clearance on the septic, what's allowed for a septic system. And this was back, I don't know, a couple months ago. Bill Murray's familiar with the project. I think I copied people on it. But he said, yeah, it's not clear. Because in one place it says you can build up to, what's allowed under some DEP regulation. And then in the other, it freezes it. It's some lower number.
Mhm.
So I want to get back to Bill Murray, re-examine that problem and tell him if we need to fix that bylaw to get it to us right away, how we would fix it to allow senior housing to be built there. And we had some thoughts about, if you could build housing, what would you build? And the discussion we had is, if you cap it at 24 units, you don't have to run a public water supply. Once you hit the 25th, you're a public water supply. So I said, well, why don't we shoot for 24 units, but whether that would be one building of 24, 2 buildings of 12, 4 buildings of 6, you get the idea.
Mhm.
Would be a lay of the land and the septic possibility and so on. So that's what the feasibility study was trying to come up with. And whether, if there is enough potential for 10 more units or 15 more units to actually qualify for the public water supply and do it, whether we should consider that. So we're inching along on this process, but I will try to get that clarified, because we do have an opportunity at town meeting. We could still do a technical, do a correction where there's a double standard written in one of the bylaws to make it clear. Anyway, so that's the story with lot 57. And I do think that I will follow up with David on both the ARPA fee and the MRPC sent out their new round of grants too. And there are brownfield grants available. So I think he should, he's got a nice description from the engineering firm of what the tests involve and what's
Mhm.
required, it wouldn't be hard for him to submit that to both the ARPA
Okay.
committee and the Brownfield grants, and hopefully one of them will do that. It's not a affordable housing issue because the town agreed that they made the environmental mess and they'll clean it up, right?
Right.
And they're not going to put on affordable housing. So we're not going to use affordable housing funds to do
Right.
that.
That makes sense.
So they agreed to do that. Okay, so grant by law, I don't have anything new. Oh, do you want to say something else?
No, I
Okay.
didn't know if you had any more questions about it. No?
Nope. Okay, moving right along, because that's not a vote. It's just something I need to get back to you on. Next meeting, we will have something on that. Accessory farm use bylaw. I know Chris wasn't here at our last meeting. There was an applicant that was going to propose actually a bylaw to the board, and that was our guest. And it was Allison Muirhead, was looking at lot 28 George Howard Road. And they were going to do that rollout, and then she said the owner had awarded
The sale.
the sale to somebody else. Now, I don't know whether that was a competitor or some third person out there. I don't know.
Right. Somebody else bought it.
So if it was, then we should be hearing back with the country club idea, but I have not heard anything. So I don't know what the story with that is. But it doesn't give us any help drafting it. Maybe it wouldn't have been helpful anyway. But do you want to talk about where that project stands?
Yeah, all of a full committee has been appointed, and it's going to be meeting for the first time on the 14th.
Excellent.
Awesome.
For
Farm use.
The agricultural accessory use bylaw.
in that George Howard Road, is that the 350
Yes,
acres-ish?
yes.
It's the old Dave Richard farm.
Okay.
And
So
it's
that's all of it, okay.
it's mostly protected with it. They sold the rights of development to 200 acres of that years ago. So the buyer takes it subject to those restrictions.
They keep it as farmland.
Chapter 61, 61A,
I'm not
61.
No,
sure which one.
they sold the
No.
development right. It was actually a transfer of development rights to DCR,
It's
I
a-
believe.
Yeah.
So that part's protected,
Correct.
It's protected, but it is usable with certain things. Like you could put trails through it
sure.
and so on. So
Farm use distinct to
Yeah.
what's currently there.
And it's
Francois,
also
did you want to
protected.
say something?
And what is interesting is it's protected in perpetuity.
Right. It's
Yeah.
perpetual, not unlike the chapter lands, it's protected forever.
Mhm.
Right. Okay, so, well, we'll wait to hear what you guys come up with. If you want a joint meeting, we can do that too at some point. I don't have anything new on the MRPC implementation chapter, but really we should be looking at it. And that is the last thing. The MRPC grant rounds that are out have a lot of opportunities that the town can follow. None of them are particularly relevant to planning board. A lot of them are linked to the green energy initiatives, so you could apply to get charging stations or all kinds of things. Some of it is undersized culvert replacements. A lot of those things are in that. So I will pass it on to the powers that be
Okay.
and encourage people to apply. So that's it. Our next meeting is 3/17. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that
Before you do
motion.
so, Madam Chair, hold on. Before you do so, Madam Chair, because I know that motion cannot be discussed. I wanted to personally thank you, Madam Chair, for the help that you have rendered with regards to the battery energy storage system, as well as to my colleagues who also participated in the drafting of this here. I know this has been a long time in play here, and I'm very happy and proud the fact that we collaboratively got something over into into this stage here, and that we can actually present this here to the select board and also eventually to the finance committee. I also wanted to thank Bill Murray for shepherding this here from a technical perspective. So to all of you, kudos and thank you very much for your help.
And thank
Yes,
you,
thank
Francois.
you.
I know you
Thank
put a
you.
lot
And
of work
It
into
was
that.
Francois that drove this. Without him, we wouldn't have it. So thank you, Francois.
But
And again,
it was
Bill Murray.
truly a collaborative effort.
Okay,
It was truly a
so back
collaborative
to our motion.
effort. Yes.
It's not supposed to be debatable, but anybody have any objection to adjourning? Okay, hearing none. Lived all I.
Holman's eye.
Monroe, I.
Tiger Eye.
John,
Demelia, aye.
Okay,
everyone.
you all. We'll see you on
Appreciate
the
it. Good night.
17th.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.